Wall Street. When you tell everyone, hey, if you get the joke, then you can actually get away. I know.
Like 100%. He's like,
all right, everybody, thanks for coming out. We'll keep this a little bit shorter for the Constitution part of it than the last two sessions, which were pretty much dedicated to it. I just want to write something here. This is the document we are talking about. And show a link. Hello, everybody at home streaming. Welcome. So we'll start with this and then get off to the food when I get there. So the first thing is this document contains proposals that were advanced last week during the meeting and also this week at our executive board meeting. The reason I advanced changes at our executive board meeting was because our proposals actually need to be vetted and approved by the governing board, ABC, right? So everything we do in terms of process has to have some oversight, has to be approved in the end, basically ratified, otherwise it doesn't count. So what I did was 2 weeks ago I reached out to our rep and we met and I told him, I showed him the documents that we talked about and we talked about the process. And so the first thing that I want to do is I want to talk about the process by which we're going to vote on these amendments. So for everybody here and everybody who couldn't make it, this is a really important part of it. For total transparency, we're going to make this very clear in our communications and also on Facebook. These amendments, so I've submitted our Constitution to ABC. I asked them for an interpretation to tell me how I conduct these amendments, or the vote for the amendments. And what they've given me was a set of two options. And the option we've chosen to go with is to hold a vote of a simple majority of all present members, of everybody who's present at the meeting. And we have food.
We do.
Round of applause for the food. All right, so just pause on this real quick with the food. Just give me 5 minutes, and then we'll have some food and get into the next thing. So basically, everybody in the back, if you don't have a copy, grab one. There you go. And so basically, the idea here is that I've submitted the part of our Constitution to ABC for interpretation. They need to tell me how they need to see us through this process. And the process that we're going to do this is by polling all the members who are present with a simple majority as a vote that passes. So the simple majority is 50% plus one, and we're going to be doing those on ballots next Thursday. So next Thursday, these proposals will be voted on. So I want to talk then about the proposals and open it up for any questions, or we can just jump right into it. So the first thing that changed between this and the last thing was that there was a proposal for in-person paper balloting, and that was an idea advanced because it would allow us to keep a sort of really low bar on only one participation in a meeting in person, and then also in person for the voting process. The thing is, Dean Keefe has to administer it, and that's a no-go for him. He doesn't want to hold the ballot. It's a complicated process. There's a lot of logistics that don't really work. So his feedback was to do it online, do it through the official university election system, and that's what we've done. So codified in amendment number 3, if you go down to Article 9, Elections, Section 3, it says, Section 5, it says all elections will be held by electronic ballot through official university online election systems. The chair of the election committee will administer the voting process according to the bylaws. The faculty advisor will serve as the co-chair of the election committee and will be responsible for ensuring that only eligible voting members participate in the election. The balloting process shall remain open for no shorter than 3 and no longer than 5 days. And voter eligibility shall be verified according to Article 5, Section 3, before tabulating results. It's everything that we had before, except that there's no in-person process. So actually, by eliminating an in-person process, we also can eliminate petitioning for absentee ballots, because if you can vote online, that is an absentee ballot. So there's no provision for that. So unfortunately, Perry, did a lot of work in trying to come up with perfect language for this. Put on his white wig and everything, and we can't use it. But thanks anyway.
Here we go. Find yourself.
Big
there.
deal.
Yeah.
Hey, here you go, Perry. This is for you.
Yep. Cool. And so
Target.
so the next thing is the transitional board. The transitional board was an idea that came about last year during our discussion about how to successfully transition in the event of a total resignation of the board. This was something that the Constitution didn't lay out. So the idea here is to in Amendment 6 on the second to last page, I believe, you can see that it's no longer called a transitional board. It's an emergency board transition. And this is pursuant to our advice from the Dean's Office. So the Dean's Office says, look, why do 2 elections? Why have a 3-person board when we could just elect everybody right away, right? So the language here would require that this be conducted by the administration within 2 weeks of the dissolution, impeachment, or resignation of the entire executive board. And it specifically lays out what's going to happen about the term that board serves, depending on when that resignation happens. So if it happens in the fall, for example, if it happens anywhere between the beginning of the academic year and the beginning of the spring semester, let's say all the way from the first day of fall semester to the last day of winter break, if the entire board is resigned, then they will, the next board that gets elected will only serve out the rest of that term. If it happens from the beginning of the spring semester until the beginning of the next academic year, so the last day of summer break, they will serve out the rest of the previous board's term plus 1 academic year. So that's basically what we did. We took over the rest of the term, and we were serving out a second, not a second, but a third, basically 3 terms. So this would just build in exactly where it starts and stops for each board, and that there's no way that the administration wouldn't be involved in any case if this dissolution happens. And so the last thing was very duplicative, and that's been replaced here as per, this is more or less the suggestion of Dean Keefe. The last thing, actually, there have been no changes to Amendment 5 with Board of Advisors, and Amendment 7. I want to draw your attention to the last page. This is the last thing. So currently, in our Constitution, so the part of the Constitution I had to submit, which is Article 3, Section 6, I had submitted this to ABC because the wording was vague enough that it wasn't really clear how we were supposed to pass constitutional amendments, so I needed their interpretation. And part of their feedback, in addition to clarifying what would be acceptable, was to change the wording so that we could not have to do that again in the future. So basically, this codifies the process through which we're going to do it this time. So it says, the executive board will hold a vote, so regarding the passage of constitutional amendments, the executive board will hold a vote among eligible voting members during a regular general body meeting, during which a simple majority is required to pass an amendment.
A question with that, like,
Sure.
So, does the Constitution say, does this affect anything about, like, how much notification the board's going to give the entire body, student, or voting eligible voting members, so they can make sure that they're at the meeting that vote will be held on?
Yeah, so this leaves the process unchanged except for the actual vote of the amendment. The process that currently exists is the one that we've been following, where there's a 2-week meeting period between the first proposal and the actual vote. So it leaves everything else unchanged about the process. Just clarifies and codifies the exact process by which we're doing it this time, and applying that very clearly in the future so that there can be no more room for finagling interpretation. You guys have any questions? Cool. I think we're all Constitution out this semester. I know I am. So I'm ready to vote on this thing. And with your guys' support, this package of amendments is aimed squarely at making this organization function better in the future and really be more sustainable for the size of the community that we have now versus the community that we had when we were founded. and also making a lot more kind of technicalities a lot less able to be unclear.
Can you clarify something for me?
Sure. Yeah.
So it's going back to the original constitution that stands and then matching this one to that, so understanding the full progression.
Sure.
And it has to do with the org chart as well as the additional, and I might not use the right language, so please correct me.
Sure.
The addition of 2 deputy voting members, I think is what the original constitution has, which right now reads in a way that would suggest that really the e-board is picking a bunch of voting members. It reads like that. I don't know if that's the intent.
So
You know what I'm
can you
saying?
start to that? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And I'm so sorry, I should have it up. I
On
can also write
on
to
the org
you.
chart, are you talking about the 2
So
appointed
there's
voting,
thank you.
2 appointed voting directorships that are kind of ghost boxed here?
Those, but you also, it seems like in the original piece, you have the ability to put 2 voting, is this what it is?
The
Did you just
president
pull it
can
up?
appoint-
You're amazing.
President can appoint 2 voting positions.
President can
Yeah,
appoint 4
city
total,
executive
2 of
board.
which are voting.
Right, only 2 voting members.
So, I just wanna understand the way that you see this new org chart in terms of, how do I say this in an appropriate way?
No, just that.
It looks like the new executive board has the ability to put in 4 of their buddies.
No.
I know that's not
Yeah.
the-
So
So that's what I'm
So
saying, so the language reads a little off, maybe
Yeah.
that's something
Let
that
me
can be
clarify.
clarified, do you know what I mean?
So let me clarify. So the existing constitution allows for only 4 elected positions: the president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. You can see on the org chart here on the back page. What it also allows for is the president of the organization to appoint 2 additional voting members of the e-board. So you could expand so I want to be clear as well, the president doesn't vote except in the situation of a tie. So the president only casts a tie-breaking ballot. So the vice president, secretary, and treasurer are the only elected voting members under the current constitution, and the president can appoint 2 additional, basically. So what we have done is, traditionally, we've had the communications director and 1 other position. It's been in fluctuation. But this semester, what we've done is Al has appointed 2 additional voting members. One is communications director, and the second is a community director. And they've both been focused on, sort of external communications, like Mark here, and Buckley has been focused on volunteerism and all of our community relations. And so we feel that these are the best 2 most consistently needed positions. What we want to do is add these to the election process as well. So we'd expand from only 4 elected positions to 6, 5 of which are voting by default. But it would retain the ability for the president to appoint 2 additional ones.
members, and would they be considered members of this e-board, these VPs?
Yes, they would be equal with
Okay.
with the director of community communications.
Yeah.
And that's why they live on the same
Got it.
level, because they would have
Okay.
the same voting abilities. And so we think instead of having, when you only have 3 members of the organization who can affirmatively vote or deny the ability to advance an agenda, that's not really like a very legitimate
agree with
majority. 2 out of 3 is just not like a good test. And more people sitting at the table is better debate, better policies, better outcomes. People disagree a little more on things, that's fine. We have for sure, but we've made better choices as a result. So more people at the table is really the goal. We think 3 out of 5 is a better test, with the ability to expand to 7 if needed.
Scale.
Yeah,
scale,
exactly.
The director.
The director of hats, or
That's
I don't know.
clear, thanks,
Yeah.
that was not, I wasn't reading, I would have been. So then also, I must have missed that language where it says, because that's one of the other things I was like, why is it president? I don't get it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need to, that's not, And then this org chart here,
You're right, no, you're right.
does this mean now that the vice president supports the president?
So the vice,
All these other positions also report directly to the president?
Mark created the org, he could speak a little
Okay.
clearer to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so the way this is
Thank
set
you,
up,
Dan.
Sure.
yeah, the way this is set up is basically it's a 3-tiered org chart, right? So you have the president at the head, VP in sort of a lateral but sub position to the president, and then the rest of the board on the same plane. What this basically allows for, what this shows, is that there's an avenue. You don't go to the president through the VP, right? The way we originally had this set up was sort of a linear
Yeah.
pattern, which just didn't make sense because functionally that's not how it works at all. What this shows is basically that the VP holds a position constitutionally, which is in the language, sort of at a tier above the rest of the executive board, because they're the natural successor, should something happen to the president, whatever, right? The president, if only the president resigns, the VP takes over, right? But it also shows that it's, hopefully,
Keep moving.
but it basically also shows that there's the VP and the president, the rest of the board report to them sort of in equal measure. That is, right.
This is clear, thank you.
But it's not a direct change.
Yeah.
Right, it's not a direct, exactly. It's more, it's there is a hierarchy, but
Yeah,
the idea being that it's realistically day-to-day sort of functions as a flat
Really?
org chart. Like we really, it's just a circle.
Yeah. And I trust that because you guys are in these positions, you understand, like you said, the day-to-day. I'm thoughtful about Al and previous presidents who we all know, who have extremely large leading loads, especially if there are more positions, and I know that you have a lot of positions right now, and how you guys have thought about how this particular org chart allows the president to be a healthy leader and not also managing all these positions and being the figurehead and being a student. Is that something that's been talked about, or are there thoughts about just, is there more deputy depth beneath this that you're thinking about functionally growing?
Yes,
What's
yeah.
the thought
Yeah,
behind
I
it?
can get into that really
Yeah.
specifically in the actual definition of these roles. You can see on Amendment 1. There's
Yeah,
a
there's a lot
definition of Article 8, Item E and F. Both codify and expand the roles of Communications Director and Community Director. Currently, there's a sort of inferred duty of the Community and Communications Director, which are really kind of not really defined very well, and only really defined in our bylaws, which is a strange place to have it. So basically, this says here in Item E would define the role of the Communications Director, which is to your point, intended to allay some of the responsibilities of both the Secretary and at least one of the functions of the Vice President. And the Community Director is intended to allay some of the responsibilities of the President and the Vice President. So Item E, the Director of Communications shall serve as point of contact for disseminating information about organizational events, initiatives, and other activities by maintaining all public electronic communications, included and not limited to newsletters and social media accounts. There's a double B there. Sorry about the typo, guys. The director.
Don't put that in the Constitution.
The Director of Communications shall perform other approved communications-related activities as needed by the executive board or as directed by the bylaws. And we don't have to go into the second part of Item F, but basically it shall maintain organizational relationships, basically with the community, volunteer organizations, the grad student community, and so on.
Is the thought that then, are you still gonna appoint deputies to be assistive to these?
It's still completely possible, but not necessary.
Not necessary.
Yeah. We're not removing any of that functionality. We just, we're expanding that initial majority vote from 3 to 5.
That is great.
Yeah.
It basically allows for flexibility, especially given we don't know what the community's going to happen, what happens to the community in a few years. It could shrink, in which case you don't need, to codify all these positions or whatever. But I think given where Dean a few weeks ago led us to believe that sort of the stasis for the amount of veterans that are going to be here, this probably functions best.
Yeah.
But it's designed to give future
Yeah, it should
boards
be breathing.
a flexibility, right? So.
Cool. All right, I'm standing between you and pizza. Anybody else? One other thing.
Sorry, we talked about the advisory board. Came late.
We did not yet, but let's do it after pizza.
Yes, for some
That's
questions.
a good executive.
Tad, do you have specific questions about it? Oh, the smoke ups?
Yes.
That was out.
Small hands.
Oh, Tom, just reach across. Help yourself, Tom.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Tom.
Do you have a rank? Like, can they tell you something? Just Tom? They have a call sign? Or what?
Tried to institute my call sign, but they weren't. Public safety wasn't really all about it.
What's your call sign?
Keeping Tom.
So I mean, it's
It's weird. I don't get why they want to. What's up?
Hey, we're concerned about we thought about addressing the issue of access, but we want to make sure that we don't step in the way of somebody going down their bike from
Right now? Yeah. Let me get there, because I actually talked to him. He messaged me. Jason.
You gave me a ride in an ambulance the other day.
No. Well, usually I forget most of the people, but I don't know.
I don't remember the ambulance ride. I was told I was in one.
My friend told a lot of people like that.
How do you like that when I saw you?
I got that shirt. See, I don't go in all the calls, so I read all the shirts because that's like one of my job. I do.
I actually have no idea who was in it. I remember somebody slapping me on the floor. Stay with me. And then I couldn't remember the hospital.
Tired.
Yeah.
I get it. What do you mean?
I'll get the information for you though. And I'll make sure you put it on.
I don't really have an appointment in the morning and I'll watch everybody else. It's fun to watch. Like an it's like it sucks.
That's not bad.
Sorry, splashing.
I'm in the way. I always feel like that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Learn to live with that feeling.
I want to be able to draw but I want to do the podcast. And if I cut that, then I'll be at the I gotta take calls.
Jason's there.
I don't have the room.
Jason.
Yeah.
So it's like.
So sweaterific.
We're not gonna take it. I hope so. Get a lot of fun.
Yeah.
She's out of New York office.
So she's like,
This is how democracy dies. Star Wars line. Maybe it was Marvel. Yeah.
I like some speed. I have the tattoo.
There you go. There you go.
I have a Star Wars tattoo.
No.
So,
Where is it?
oh no, yes, I have.
Clean up well.
You know, what came to it. Star Wars.
Just Princess Leia. That would be better than the one I do, which is literally just the logo. You rebel.
Right, talk to you too, right, Curtis?
Hey guys,
Oh yeah, I talked to Brandon. Like, we're gonna be your campaign managers.
With the $3,000 that he says that's including what we allocate to spend for the congressional election. So we might not do what he's saying again. Freshman managers don't want to pay. We want to pay.
I want to transfer my he was like, well, I don't know if I can do that. You're not going to
I just want to see if you donate.
Look at, well, I mean, I'll be honest. If it's like $3,000, like, whatever we have left over, we'll take it.
If it's $3,000 left over, we'll donate money.
And do what else?
To roll over for next year.
It doesn't roll over.
It doesn't?
It's not supposed to. It only rolled over last year. Yes.
I don't know.
Okay.
This might want to even though I emailed him, I'm not able to make this appointment. So I emailed him today again. Forwarded the email and said, well, I didn't miss the appointment. I told you I was going to miss the appointment at 10.
Yeah, I've had to do that with him. Everything had to go through all night. And it worked. I mean, I played this smart. One thing that we learned, you know, and cover your ass. When it was done,
Never happened.
It was a place that I got to just
Brought like coming in.
you know, like,
I walked past.
by the time they actually
Somewhere.
I had to do it.
I walked past. I was just like,
I was responsible for everything. So I had to fight to get into the So, I mean, it worked out, but it was a battle.
where's the tattoo?
I had that. I know you have it. I know you have it.
Where is it? I'm not.
Undoes his belt. I'm like, I know. I just put it in there. And then I transferred here.
Do push-ups.
Hello.
Yeah, do push-ups, but like, do push-ups, but like, damn it. Like if I
I
like the very subtle.
It sure is.
We're not back. We're good, man. Sit down and back.
Now, we're also fine as whole. I segregate or enter. Either one of those, that's not fine. So he went on. Please, I would love to.
So our request, what was not to have so I'm like, you know what? I'm making my case. I was like, so, like, if you're going for a book, you know,
I got accepted.
you made it well aware. They'll be in contact. So then that I don't know. You have to ask
Every single thing that you said.
The reason I'm saying for it is debate because we have to do debate. The debate you can moderate. It's a so we have we open it up to the room. We're going to get a bit it's like a 24-hour and change, so it's 46 hours, and it's online. So we'll do results in how long?
job, that's not like it's an average.
As soon as I got off the stage, I'm behind.
It's like right outlooks or something like that is what they.
I printed that out, and I was like, above average job. Okay, nothing to say. It was all right in front of
But you said that, he said he wants to come out to the president. And then he said that, like, right, and then he said that, like those guys usually do.
Hey, gentlemen.
Yeah, old rich white guy.
That's a business, shut up!
There you go. So just to wrap up the amendment portion of Mike left off with a question about the advisory board. Yes, go ahead.
Do we have anyone identified already for this? I'm trying to get an idea of what sort of person we envision.
Yeah.
It was never dropped, it was never
We
part
floated
of
some
the
ideas,
director of
but
community.
nobody in
It was,
particular,
it's
but
just an
the
initiative.
type of person we would ask
I mean, we
to be
could
on
add
that kind of thing would be like.
Which has always been
Olson,
important
for
enough to
example,
dedicate a
who's so
standalone
involved,
director.
and that
to
kind
do
of
director of
class
community.
of veteran or veteran advisor, senior kind of veteran community person. Right. To both integrate with the community and also advise us going forward in veterans issues.
Maybe a prominent alumni.
Prominent alumni, industry rep, partner, in some cases could be a donor who works with our organization. Could be another representative from another veterans organization. But we don't have anybody specifically tagged for this at the moment.
And sorry.
No, go ahead.
So the language of this is that the advisory board, if the majority of the executive board concurs, can assign duties to the president specifically or the board in general?
They don't assign duties.
They don't, yeah.
No, they don't?
They just give us advice and we take it or not.
So if they recommend something and then the executive board says it's, I'm reading.
So let's say, for example, right, the board is, and I think the language is in there actually. Yeah. If the board of advisors, let's say, says, "Hey, we should all go get shit faced," and they tell the president, "Hey, you guys should get shit faced more," then the president calls it to a vote, just like any other thing would be, to the rest of the executive board. You get what I'm saying?
And the vice president and the president both sit on this panel basically. So, it's not simply the president of the organization. In our case, if it existed, it would be Al and I both.
So let's say, Mike, you were on the board of advisors, right? And you tell me to do something. Then it still comes out to an e-board vote.
Right.
Just like any other. Yeah.
We would assume
So
that.
I guess the word responsibilities is kind of. Oh yeah. I wonder if that.
No, we're just walking the line finally to let them feel like they have some kind of, say, enough to justify what they would hopefully give to the community.
I'll delete this video.
Come on. Without
mute it right now.
Never put this man near a hot mic ever.
Yeah.
What was that about Barnard?
Yeah.
If you have directors that are on your advisory board, that's different than a board of directors.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's why it's called a board of
Right.
advisors, not a board of directors. Sure, they're advising. They give advice.
But if they're giving you $100,000 donation and then they're advising you, you'll go and listen to their advice.
Probably. Yeah.
Right.
They have really shitty.
But that would also be that would
Ideal.
also shore up a lot of our yearly issues with funding and all the work Sam and Al and everybody else has to do every year in order to kind of get this
I
thing
think
back
funding
on
is
board.
great.
And at the end of the day, like if
thoughtful about the reality of
if the executive board does decide to act in a way that is against the interest of the community, for that funding, then the responsibility and accountability also comes down on them as well. You know what I'm saying? So
I
they
see.
really have to take responsibility for whatever they do.
Dan, there's a question online.
Yeah, sure.
So Jeff Salazzi wants to know, forgive me if I'm mistaken, but it looks like the mental health was dropped from the duties of the Director of Community. Why was that change made? I'm concerned that the Director of Community and Mental Health is being amended to just simply Director of Community.
Oh, so there is a specific section in the Constitution right now that says mental health and wellness, but it's like blank in the bylaws.
Well, and also, like, I was serving I was the only one who served as the Director of Community and the Mental Health Liaison. And those are two separate jobs that I took on. I was the only one who did that, and then I served later. And then once Bunk became the Director of Community, I was the Mental Health Liaison. Those are two separate jobs. It's not that it was stricken from it. They were always two separate jobs. It just so happens that I did it both.
But even still, the duties for that role are currently like blank in the bylaws. But actually, in order to change the bylaws, we can do that at any e-board meeting. That's not a constitutional question. And so if we want to enhance this, we can do it at any time. So we can work with our past mental health liaisons and our current one, and if you want to get involved as well, we can address it.
Cool. All right, that was it.
Did you have something?
Yeah, I got something else. Talking about Amendment 4, which is the electoral members to the e-board.
Yeah.
Out last week we had talked about it, whatever. The creation of Section 6, I think, is great. Section 4.
Yeah.
Talking about the president, vice president positions shall be held by Columbia University students who have served in the military.
Right.
Do we want to make that the U.S. military, or are we going to go to the foreign military?
So the idea here is, and that's exactly the question we wrestled with when trying to translate. This question came up last week. It was Al who asked the question, and there was wide agreement that we should probably limit the president and vice president to military veterans. In formulating this question, right, it's really like, we want to encourage IDF and Korean vets and other veterans who come here to attend and be active members. The reality is, like, it's a sort of political question about whether or not, how electable those people are to these positions. So our feeling today was, if you're good enough, and if you're IDF and Korean, veteran, you can get elected to the board of mil vets. You probably are popular enough to make that happen. So we don't see a reason to limit any non-U.S. military veterans. I think we just want to make sure that these positions are held by veterans in general.
I think it's also hypocritical to say, hey, you're a foreign vet, we want you to participate, we want you to come to meetings, but you'll never get to this position.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for.
I mean, it's tough. You're running as a foreign veteran for the U.S. military veterans at Columbia University, right?
I know that we can't change that.
Right. We can't.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was one reason I was also curious, is if we wanted, because I didn't remember talking specifically about that last week, so I just want to bring up that point.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. That was a point raised, and to fill the gap here, we want to leave that open for those members, and we feel like that the political situation is such that the group is mostly made up of U.S. military veterans. If you're IDF and you can get elected president, you're probably somebody who should be the president.
Then good on you.
Yeah, good on you. That's where we're at. I can tell you, your average probably IDF guy saw more combat than I did. So why should they be? Why should they be the VP? Yeah. So, any other questions?
Can you define then what veteran means? And I know that sounds really funny, but coming from members that are not, and also somebody who perhaps has tried to serve but did not make it all the way through their training. Somebody who has some kind of discharge in their life.
Specific definition. There's a specific definition.
Let me holler at Google for you.
But it doesn't say veteran. It's whether you served in the military, right? And so those of us who've served in the military have been discharged. In the U.S. military, we have the DD-214. That's so.
And I don't even know. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because I was never in Guard or anything. But if you're currently still in the Guard, are you also?
That was the reason we chose.
James Ward will tell you he's active duty.
That's exactly the reason, but this question is the reason we chose to say serving in the military, have served in the military. That way we can
Get the fuck out of here,
we don't have to define what it means to be a veteran versus Guard, active reserve. Am I really a veteran?
Do you guys remember that moment when you were like, we didn't serve the whole thing?
Yeah, right. Where's my hat? I need that hat.
I'm asking you this because I have no students who ask me this.
Cool. Cool.
I don't know if I count for this.
Yeah, I mean,
As long as you had allegedly, as long as you have a discharge, under conditions other than dishonorable, you're a veteran. Like, it doesn't matter how long you serve for.
And Aaron, I mean, to be really direct about it, we have people like you in mind when we're drafting something like this. We see no reason why you couldn't be the treasurer, secretary, or whatever if you wanted to be. You know, because you've been to SVA with us. You come to our meetings. A lot of us are friends with you. We know you do a good job. So like whether it's Aaron,
this is the only
Aaron of this period or the Aaron of the future, you know, we should
never gonna happen.
We should make sure that we can incorporate these people somehow with a little bit of a limitation on the VP.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cool. Anybody else? That's a lot. Thank you. And now we'll talk about elections.
Woohoo!
So, elections. So elections, so this is the official announcement. Elections are going to happen next Thursday, starting next Thursday, and finishing Friday night. This is going to be a relatively short period, but it's totally within the bounds of what we're supposed to do in the Constitution. We have to have an election before spring break, and we have to let you know no shorter than a week in advance. So this is the official notice. Elections will happen next Thursday. So the timeline here is that we need everybody who's going to be running for a position to submit your declaration of candidacy, no longer than 500 words, to millvets@gmail.com, and we will take that and send it to Dean Keefe, who will verify that everybody has the right level of GPA to run, because there's a GPA restriction as per GS to serve on the board. So that eliminates you. I'm sorry.
No, because it has already stopped you from setting abroad.
Kidding, man. Come on. So after Tuesday.
What is the GPA limit?
2.5.
2.5 something.
Oh,
so.
fuck. But if you.
So we're all. None of you can run. Nobody's running. So anyway.
I'm gonna stay in that tree.
So Tuesday. So we need all of these. I'm sorry, I misspoke. We need all of these into millvets@gmail by midnight on Monday. We're going to be putting them in Dean Keefe's hands on Tuesday. He's going to do all of his checks and balances or whatever. He's going to spit back out to us a list of who can do it, and it'll probably be everybody. And then what we're going to do with that list is we're going to take all those campaign platforms, combine them into a single doc in no particular order, and send them out to the entire community via email, no later than Tuesday night. So everybody will have everybody's campaign platforms on Tuesday night, and it will be known who the candidates are. We will hold a candidate forum. It's not a debate, it's a forum, because there are specific format differences. It's not going to be a stage of people with a moderator and arguing. It's going to be the member who's running for a position, standing and talking about their platform and their ideas and pitching, for their candidacy. We're going to do a short Q&A from the community. It's going to be an open community thing on Thursday. We're not pre-screening any questions or anything like that. So anybody who shows up, if you can get called on, you're going to be able to ask your question. And immediately after the conclusion of the meeting on Thursday, the polls will open and they will close on 11:59 p.m. on Friday. And we will have an announcement about the results over the weekend, but as soon as possible. Not making any specifics, we got to make sure everything's good, but by the end of the weekend, for sure. Questions?
Are there any limitations, if any, on campaigning by candidates?
We don't have any limitations on campaigning as per our Constitution or bylaws. No. We will. So the election is conducted.
Or sorry, that's what I meant.
What is it?
The University Board of Elections.
No, we have our own election procedures, so that's what we're following. So, and then the results are, so it's administered. So I'm the organization rep for this process. Keith is the co-chair of the process. Jason's got all the membership names and stuff. Everybody's here and all of our membership. So we'll all work together to make sure everything's on the up and up, and then we'll do it as above board as possible.
Registration for voting for those who. What's the process right now?
Right. So the
old process, right?
So the old process. So here's the thing. So the old process says in the Constitution it says members are defined by being on our mailing list, right? And in our election process it says only active members can vote. Define what an active member means. So our intention is to hold this process according to the rules that we've advanced in the new version of the Constitution. Whereas there would be a process by which that anybody who's been to any of our meetings at least once this entire school year would be able to participate in the election. That there would be a participation requirement. But I'm not entirely sure how that bears out.
I don't. That's.
You're gonna get. I'm just telling you right now. You're gonna get pushback from those who weren't aware that those were
that's
those
not right.
were the conditions.
Yeah, and we talked about.
Can you run that back? I missed completely what you said.
I'm just saying.
No, that's
sure.
People in the community who weren't aware that their voting eligibility was dependent upon their attendance at a meeting. It's gonna raise us.
I agree with the changes that you need to make.
For the next term.
But right now, it should be done.
Not. Well, there are amendments. They don't start till the next year anyway, so it's good.
This election needs to stay the same.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Did you say one or
the amendments?
Yeah. One. It's basically one in person plus it's 2 remote for the next version.
So what if it was put out that if you attend for the election this Thursday, that satisfies the requirement?
Well,
that's
not fair either because a lot of people are going on spring break.
So I agree then, yeah. I mean, we definitely need to keep it as per the way that
I would say gently too, specifically because this is now the second, it's really the first election traditionally run after what you guys were elected into, which was a non-traditional situation. Sure. And you did a great job, but it was a pickup. There are members of the community that have stepped back that are interested in stepping forward again. Maybe have stayed away a little bit more because they want to see what's happening. And now they're like, okay, cool, we're running again. Let's get back into it. So you may have people who want to start getting involved. We change it before that. We're not giving them the chance to step back in, and that's they will be unhappy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, so we weren't exactly sure, what to do with the process. We just know that it specifically says active membership versus membership.
That does need to be defined.
But
and that's the changes that we're making. But it's not. They're not made yet.
Okay.
That is 100% correct.
So right now, as it stands, just
old rules
on the mailing list.
Old rules apply. What's up there?
Text in the group chat.
And on the mailing list, as it went.
Ever, right?
Can we get on the mailing list tonight or over the week?
Like when they hear that elections are coming right now, this happens every year. People are like, sign me up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are they okay?
The
I don't
Constitution
know.
said from the beginning of the election process.
I really want to separate the difference between how we're running this process then and how the new proposals would run.
Yeah.
So basically then now it would be the same problem we've always had with mailing lists. So we're gonna watch out for all the Barnard College students who want to be Novets all of a sudden, or Teachers College.
Right, with the free mailing list for like a week.
Yeah.
But the way the Constitution is set up,
Novets, aka daddy issues.
As it is right now, no changes are part of the Constitution. We still have the same Constitution we had, last election, whenever these guys were elected.
Yeah.
And that's how we have to run it because that's what the Constitution.
What I do want to say though is that the last election was held according to who is actually a veteran in the organization. That was because we had a snap election and a special situation. So there were additional restrictions put on the last version.
Okay, just address the mailing list thing real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if you don't believe you're on the mailing list, just go to our website, novets.columbia.edu. You'll see in the bottom, sign up for our newsletter, just submit your information and you'll be automatically placed on the mailing list.
And we'll post that on Facebook and everything else. Get it out. Make sure everybody's aware.
Cool. All right. So we're all good.
No questions. Cool.
So any questions about the process?
Who's running? I'm just kidding.
You'll know by Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'll definitely know by Tuesday.
You're running as Al for re-election.
You're not Al?
I like how you're.
I'm Al running for re-election.
Yeah, I thought you were children.
What is the purpose of the 500-word statement? Is that going to be disseminated? Is that just for Dean Keith?
Yeah. So the statement will be compiled in sections, from president, VP, secretary, and then treasurer in no particular order. All the statements will be put together and then put into a single doc and then sent to everybody. So everybody gets the same exact thing
And the reason the cap is 500 is because no one's really trying to read 3 pages during the
Yeah,
gym season.
it just gets too crazy.
Is there any way to condense that? Who wants to read 500 for several academy?
Well, 500 is the ceiling.
500 is the max. You can do 200
per person.
Yeah, no more than 500. You can write a sentence if you want to.
I feel like 500 is a lot, honestly. You know, if you wanna, if there's several candidates for one position.
Alright, yes.
Is there a 6th position open?
So there are 4 positions, so we're still doing business, according to the existing constitution, there's 4 positions open. It's a president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. Next year, there would be an additional election for 2 more positions, or like a part of the same election, but for 2 more positions. Yeah. Cool.
Positions like Perry's deputy operation that is appointed by the president.
Yes, yeah, it would still be. Any 2 additional voting directors would be appointed by the president according to the current rules.
Yeah, those would have to be reestablished.
Yeah, they would have to be, 2 new members. We couldn't. So the thing is, like, I looked at it. I said, can we like try to like elect 2? But it specifically says limited only to 4. There's nothing we can do about it. Hard stop. Hard stop at 4. Current version. So nothing we can do. That's all we got, guys. Any questions? Anything else?
No, we did not.
Just out of curiosity, so right now we're gonna have 4 positions that are gonna be running, right?
4 positions elected.
Sure. But then, so the 2 because they're gonna be part of they're gonna be
voting members
constitutionally made elected positions for next year.
For next year.
So since they're going to be elected positions next year, that means we're gonna have to either hold a special election next year for those 2 positions, or
it will be part of the regular election process.
But this is the election process for next year.
No, next year you won't elect the 2 other positions. Because the 2 positions, the directors, are nominated by the incoming e-board as soon
No,
as
he's referring to communications director.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
It would have to be the
So next
year,
they'll get appointed.
Whenever these amendments are ratified, right?
Yeah.
Then now we have 2 more elected positions.
So I think I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is, like, would we have to hold a special election in the fall for these 2?
What now?
Are you asking if we would have to have a special election in the fall for these 2, for example? Sure. We wouldn't have to do that because the existing constitution applies for the next e-board, which is elected now.
So on a hypothetical standpoint, could we hold it like if
we cannot?
If the e-board of next year wanted the 2 positions to be elected, could we hold?
We can. They could maybe do something in the fall. They could do something in the fall because the new constitution will apply. But as of now, this semester, we cannot hold another or 2 more positions to be elected because the specific provision says limited only to 4 positions, so we can't add 2 more to the mix.
That is not to say, though, that a president in choosing his candidates couldn't say in a general body meeting.
So like if the OWL next year was like, look, I don't want to pick the guys. I want you guys to pick. Yeah.
Same person. Could function as big as director.
Right. Yeah.
You could function.
I will appoint whoever you elect.
The president next year could hold an election for those positions if they wanted to. Yes. The new constitutional amendment would be in place, and that would allow for that.
Okay, great.
I just want to add on to what you brought up earlier. So the point of this 500-word statement is to give something so that they can ask you about it during the forum. So these will be your platform ideas, where you see the club going, what your contribution has been to the community. So kind of take it seriously. Don't just put, I want to run for president because I fucking think a lot. Whatever it is, just put stuff in there that you see contributing to our growth.
All right, guys, we're holding you a little too long. Thank you so much. Thursday meeting. Thanks.
Please ensure you throw away your trash, please.